Well, our waiting is almost done. At least that is, our waiting for Christmas. But there's so much build-up to it and so much hype that surrounds it that it is deceptively easy to miss the magnitude of the joy of the season, the reason why it is so important. People get hung up on a variety of things that are of secondary importance. Some get hung up on saying Merry Christmas as opposed to Happy Holidays, making it a defiant, even militant occasion. Others get caught up in the idea that we're celebrating Jesus' birthday, which is how we describe it to small children to help make it more accessible to them. Still others get hung up in arguments about things like the virgin birth, which is important enough, and all of these things have their place, but really all of them are secondary. To gain a better sense of the significance of Christmas, we really need to turn again to Isaiah the prophet. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Tuesday, December 24th, 2024. We read a whole variety of passages from Isaiah during the Advent and Christmas seasons. A passage we don't usually read because it doesn't seem to point directly to the coming of the Messiah is this marvelous passage from Isaiah 25. Just take in the richness of the language the prophet uses here. On this mountain, the Lord of hosts will make for all peoples a feast of rich food, a feast of well-aged wines, of rich food filled with marrow, of well-aged wines strained clear. And he will destroy on this mountain the shroud that is cast over all peoples, the sheet that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death forever. Then the Lord God will wipe away the tears from all faces, and the disgrace of his people he will take away from all the earth, for the Lord has spoken. It will be said on that day, Lo, this is our God. We have waited for him so that he might save us. This is the Lord for whom we have waited. Let us be glad and rejoice in his salvation, for the hand of the Lord will rest on this mountain. There are at least three things that I love about this passage. First, I love how well it mirrors imagery Jesus frequently uses to describe the kingdom of heaven, a feast, a wedding banquet. I often wonder how my grandmother Baskin and the Peyton sisters who raised my mother, teetotalers all, took this passage with its reference to well-aged wines strained clear. Good food and fine wine evoke a sense of indulgence, almost of profligate consumption. And even if we might bridle at such extravagance in our own lives, it is a sign of God's extravagant love for us. Second, and even more to the point and more striking, is that it is aimed not only at the people of Israel, but at all peoples and all nations. This isn't about a God whose love and concern are limited to Israel. Instead, it is a picture of a God whose mercy is for all the world. And after all, that's what we believe comes into play in the birth of Christ, the opening of membership into the household of God to us Gentiles. God will destroy on this mountain, meaning Mount Zion, the shroud that is cast over all peoples, the sheet that is spread over all nations. A shroud, a sheet. Think death. We cover our dead with a sheet, and in ancient times a shroud was wrapped around the dead for burial. The meaning here, therefore, is clear. We who were effectively dead have been given new life. Not just the children of Israel, but all of us. Amazing. That's what we get in Jesus Christ. Life from the dead. The third thing that strikes me is that this is what we have been waiting for. We wait for Christmas each year because of fond memories of childhood. We wait for Christmas because many of us gather with family around a dinner table, dare I say, a banquet table. But the real waiting is infinitely greater than all that. As great as these things are, we wait for the time when God's redemption of all humankind in Jesus Christ is finally and visibly accomplished. Yes, there are other things to think about at Christmas, but all other things pale in comparison to God's redemptive work in Jesus Christ. That's worth waiting for, and that's worth celebrating. Now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.